Good morning children, welcome back to English grammar class, and today I am going to continue the previous topic, that is verbs. What are we going to learn in today's class? Yes, in the previous class we have learned the meaning of verbs, and today we are going to learn the different types of verbs which are very important for us to know. Let us see what are those. Yes, I mentioned this word in the previous video, that is auxiliary verbs. Now we are going to learn what are auxiliary verbs and how to use them. What are auxiliary verbs and how to use them, we are going to learn in today's class. Let us see. What is an auxiliary verb? An auxiliary verb is also called a helping verb. It comes before some verbs. Not all sentences have an auxiliary. Main auxiliary verbs are be, have and do. Be form of the verbs I have taught you in the previous class. Be form of the verb, that is, am, was, are and were. Have form of the verb, that is has, had and have. Do form of the verb, that is do, does and did. These are main auxiliary verbs. Along with the main auxiliary verbs, we also have modal auxiliary verbs. That means the verbs are divided into main verbs and helping verbs. You know what are main verbs? They are all the action words. The helping verbs are also called as auxiliary verbs. They are divided into two. One is be form of the verbs and the other one is modals. Helping verbs and modals. What are modal auxiliary verbs? The words like can, could, shall, should, will, would, may, might, must. They are called as modal auxiliary verbs. They are similar to modals. Some similar to modal verbs are also there. They are called as ought to, have to, need to, be supposed to, be about to. They are also called as verbs only, but they are similar to modal auxiliary verbs. I hope you are not so clear about the concept. Now I am going to clear the concepts with few more information. You can see this chart and you can be very clear. You know what are verbs? We have two types of verb, that is main verbs, which comes under action words. All the action words are main verbs. Whether it is present tense, past tense or future tense, it is the action words which is called main verbs. Next one is helping verbs. Helping verbs are also called as auxiliaries. Don't get confused with helping and auxiliary verbs. Both are same. These are divided into two categories, that is primary and modals. What are primary? Are nothing but to be form of the verbs, that is am, is, was, are and were. To do form, that is do and does and did. Have form, it is have, has and had. They comes under the primary helping verbs. Don't get confused. They are the primary helping verbs. Along with the primary helping verbs, we also have modals. What are modals? The words like shall, will, should, would, may, might, must, could. All these are called as modals. That means they are also verbs only. Children, just look at the textbook, any textbook. You just open the textbook and start reading the sentences. In each and every word, either the main verb or the primary helping verb or the modal auxiliaries, any of the verb will be there in each and every sentence. That's why I said without verb, we cannot frame any sentences. Now let us go further. Same auxiliary verbs. An auxiliary verb helps the main verb. Why do we use this auxiliary verb? Because they help the main verb and it is also called as helping verb. That's the reason they are called as helping verb. The action happened in the past or happening in the present or will be happen in the future. To show them, to confirm them, we use these kind of modal verbs. You know, is means it is in the present tense. Action is going on in the present tense. Was means it is going on in the, it was going on in the past. Will be means it will be happening in the future. So the words like all these auxiliary verbs, they help us to decide whether the actions are going in the present tense or in the past tense or in the future tense. As they are helping the main verb, they are called as helping verbs. This is about the auxiliary verbs. You know where to use is, where to use am, where to use was, where, are, and all. You are very clear about it. But you should know where to use the modals. The words like can, and if it is negative, it is can't. Why to use this word can and can't? There are many instances where we can use the word can and can't. For example, first to show the ability. You can do it. We'll say you can do it. I can speak 4 languages. It is my ability. To show the ability of mine, I can say can. If it is a negative sentence, I can say I can't. I can't speak 4 languages. Not only the ability, when you are saying about the possibility also, you can use the word can and can't. Smoking can cause cancer. Possibility. We are saying the possibility of cancer. Smoking can cause cancer. Next, permission. When you ask permission, you can use the word can. Can I use your book, please? Can I use your book, please? The word can will be used for the permission also. And when you want to request, can you hand me a pen, please? When you have a request, again you can use the word can. When you are going to offer something, you are going to give somebody, can I help you? Can I give you? Cannot used when it is not allowed. You cannot smoke here. When you say the negative sentence, whether it is ability or possibility or permission or request or giving an offer, when you are using a negative sentence, you can use the cannot, the word like cannot. So this is a usage of can and cannot. Next is should and should not. When to use should? When you are going to give somebody an advice, you should eat more fruits and vegetables. When you are giving advice, you should eat more fruits and vegetables. You should not eat junk food. You should not eat more oily food. Should and should not. When you are giving some advice to somebody, we use the word modal like should. You should eat more fruits and vegetables. I think we should wait here now. You should take a break and get some rest. Giving advice. And some obligations also. When you are talking about some obligations, you should to walk to work. You should save some money. Obligations that we need to do something. You should do more exercises. When we have some obligations to do compulsorily, then we can use the models like should and should not. Then probability and expectations. When you have expectations or probability, we can also use the word that models like should and should not. A ticket to Paris should cost a lot. I smell baking. There should be a bakery nearby. This should not be Mark's house. So to give advice and to talk about obligations and to talk about probability, to talk about expectations, we use the models like should and should not. Next is the word may or may not. Shall I say the positive? The just opposite is negative, that is may not. May is a modal verb most commonly used to express possibility. It may happen. Possibility or wish. May God bless you. When you wish something or when you talk about some possibility, we use the modal verb that is may and may not. It can also be used to give or request permission. May I come in? May I come in? May I give you? To give some permission or request also, we can use the modals like may and may not. For example, possibility, it may rain today. Possibility, it may rain today. Give permission, you may go now. You're giving permission, you may go now. Request permission, may I come in? Suggestion, may I help you? Wishes, may God bless you. So the word may and may not can be used to express the possibility or wishes, or you can, when you ask request and permission also, we can use this modal verb, that is may and may not. Next is must and must not, have to, don't have to. As a modal verb, we have similar to modal verb auxiliaries, we have few more auxiliary verbs, that is like have to, need to, don't have to, don't need to. Like these words are also there. How to use them? When you use must to express personal obligation, you must do it. Express what the speaker thinks is necessary. When the speaker is thinks that it is very necessary, we use the word called must. Express subjective obligations. Express subjective obligations, we use the word must. For example, you must work hard. It's necessary, it's mandatory. When you're saying something, when you are strictly saying, you must. All the passengers must wear seat belts. You must wear mask. You must use sanitizers. So the word must says that it is obligatory, you have to do it. And the same vice versa with must not. When you're telling you're not supposed to do it, prohibited, it is prohibited, you must not spit on the street. You must not go out of the house without mask. When you are going to prohibit something, then it is called must not. For example, children must not talk to strangers. Must not, you should not do at all. Very strictly you are prohibiting something, then you have to use must not. When you have to do something, for example, express impersonal obligations and the subject is obliged or forced to act by separate. External power, for example, the law or school rules. See, from the law or from the school or from the office, from the company, they'll give some rules and regulation for you to follow. You're not willing to do it, but you have to do it because it's a rule of the school. In such cases, you have to use the word like have to. And when you're not supposed to do, you have to write don't have to. I have to leave early today. You will have to pay for the excess. When you have to do it, then you have to use the word like have to, don't have to. These are the few modal verbs which we use in our daily communication. Can, cannot, should not, must not, may not, have to, don't have to. All these are modal auxiliary verbs. Now we are moving on to the very important concept, that is transitive verb and intransitive verb. First, let us know what is transitive verb. You know all the types of verbs now. Now we have to learn what is transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. What is intransitive verb? A transitive verb exerts its action on a direct object to express a complete thought. To express a complete thought, you should have a subject and we should have a verb, and that verb means action that should be received by a direct object. For example, Maya sent candy from Switzerland. Maya sent. Maya is a subject here. Sent is a verb. What's a sent? Candy. There is an object after the verb. There is an object after the verb. If there is an object after the verb which receives the action, that is called transitive verb. For example, another example, my mother took me to the zoo last week. My mother took whom? Me. I am receiving the action. Mark passed Joseph a cigarette. Mark is a subject. Passed. What he passed? He passed Joseph a cigarette. He passed his cigarette to Joseph. So after the verb, if you have any object who receives the action, that is called transitive verb. See here, the action of a transitive verb transitions through the verb to an object to complete the meaning. For example, she played the piano. Here played is an action. Who receives the action? What does she play? It is the piano. That is object. It is called direct object. In the transitive verbs, there should be an object. It may be direct object. It may be indirect object. Liam will release 5 seals. Liam will release 5 seals. Will release is an action. What they will release? 5 seals. There is a direct object. When there is an object after the verb, that is called transitive verb. Next is intransitive verb. What is that? Just opposite to the transitive verb, intransitive verb. A verb which does not take a direct object is an intransitive verb. For example, he runs fast. He walks slowly. After the runs and walks, there is no other object who receives the action. There is no any other object. There is no any other person who receives the action. That is called intransitive verbs. If there is an object after the verb, that is called transitive. If there is no direct or indirect object, that is called intransitive verb. You can see the difference here. Joseph and Andy played basketball in the yard. Josh pushed Andy. Here, Josh and Andy, they are the subject. Played is an action. What did they play? Basketball. There is an object. Same way, Josh pushed. Whom he pushed? Andy. There is a noun again. There is an object again. So transitive verbs need a direct object to complete the sentence. But intransitive verb don't. For example, Andy fell. Andy fell. You will get the meaning. The complete meaning is there. But there is no object who receives the action. This is called intransitive verb. Difference between transitive and intransitive verb. So to make it more clear, there are few points to know about transitive and intransitive verbs. A transitive verb takes a direct object, like somebody killed the president. And intransitive verbs does not have a direct object. He died. Many verbs like speak can be transitive or intransitive. Look at these examples. Sometimes it will be both transitive and intransitive. Transitive, you need to use an object. See, I saw what? An elephant. We are watching TV. We are watching what? TV. He speak what? English. After the verb also there is a noun. There is an object. That is called transitive verb. Intransitive verbs, I can use it alone in the verb phrase or with adverbial. For example, he has arrived. He has arrived. Complete sentence is there. But after arrived, there is no object. That is called intransitive verb. John goes to school. John goes to school. He goes. There is no other object there. She speaks fast. She speaks fast. There is no object. So this is the difference between transitive and intransitive verb. Children, we learned what is the meaning of verb, what are the different types of verb, and the usage of different modal verbs also, and we learned the meaning and examples for transitive and intransitive verb. Kindly go through the video again and again. Try to understand the concept which is explained in the video, and be ready for the discussion class, the coming live class. Thank you children. Have a nice day.